Do you know that feeling when you're just about to start reading a book and you think to yourself, maybe this will help me? And then you get done with it and you think, wow, this book totally changed my life. It gave me new perspectives and ways of thinking. Well, today I want to share with you the top 10 books that had the biggest impact on me personally in under 10 minutes. Let's dive right in. So let's start off at number 10. This is a very popular one. You may have seen the movie or heard about it already. And this is Atomic Habits by James Clear. So if you haven't heard about this book, basically this book talks about how small little habits that compound over time can lead to big results. So for example, there was a study conducted by Dr. Matthews at Northwestern University, and he found out that the success of the New Year's resolutions depended on whether they were specific or vague. So most people who made vague goals like, I want to get healthy or I want to get fit, they weren't able to accomplish them. But those who set specific goals such as, I want to run a 5K in under 30 minutes, or I want to lose 20 pounds of body fat, they were more likely to achieve them. And the reason why this is important is because if you take the goal of getting fit and you break it down into smaller habits, things like going to the gym 3 times a week or cutting out soda, then it becomes much more actionable. You don't have to figure out how to accomplish these massive leaps. You just have to figure out how to accomplish tiny habits. And the crazy thing is, when you look at history, some of the greatest achievements were a result of simple habits that compounded over time. So for example, every single day, Leonardo da Vinci would draw. So he would draw a muscle, he would draw the veins, he would draw the tendons, and he did this every single day for years and years and years. And over time, his ability to draw became so good that we still look at his drawings and we're amazed by them today. Another great example is J.K. Rowling. So she wrote Harry Potter and she wrote 7 books in total, but it took her 5 years to write the first book, and she wrote on average 2,000 words a day. So that's around 70 pages per week, and she did this consistently for 5 years. Now that's a habit. Now let's move on to number 9, and this is Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. So this book is basically about pushing through pain and discomfort. In fact, I read this book while I was doing one of my challenges, and it helped me push through when I felt like giving up. So David Goggins, he is known as one of the most motivational speakers in our generation. He's been featured on podcasts like Joe Rogan. He's a retired Navy SEAL, and he's also an ultra-marathon runner. And throughout this book, he gives you stories of how he pushed himself beyond what he thought was possible. For example, he shares a story where he ran 100 miles in the hot sun in the middle of the Mojave Desert, and he had blisters all over his feet, and his toes were literally falling apart. But he didn't stop. He kept going until he finished the race. And he says something along the lines of, your mind is playing tricks on you. And the point is that when we start any sort of journey, whether it's a fitness journey, a business journey, anything, there's always going to be that voice in our head telling us to quit. But we need to learn to tune that out and keep moving forward. So if you feel like giving up, if you feel like quitting, if you're exhausted, I hope this book will inspire you to keep going. No Rate is The 5 a.m. Club by Rob Moore. This is another very popular book, and it's basically about waking up early and becoming more productive. There's a lot of people who love to wake up early and they say it changes your life. Waking up early can give you a sense of calm and clarity. It can help you focus on the most important tasks first, and it can help you make the most of your time. So in the book, Rob Moore tells you how he managed to wake up at 5 a.m. every morning without an alarm clock. And he shares tips and tricks that you can use to do the same. So if you struggle with waking up early, if you've tried setting alarms and it hasn't worked, then I recommend you check out this book. Number 7 is Mindset by Carol Duquette. So this book is about having the right mindset, and it's about adopting a growth mindset instead of a fixed mindset. So what's the difference? Well, someone with a fixed mindset believes that their abilities are set in stone. They believe that they are not capable of learning new things, and they don't try very hard because they don't think it'll make a difference. whereas someone with a growth mindset believes that they can improve and develop their abilities. They're open to feedback and they're willing to put in the work. So this book will teach you how to adopt a growth mindset, how to become more resilient, and how to bounce back from setbacks. Next up at number 6 is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. This book is about the power of the mind, and it's about how our thoughts can shape our reality. So this book teaches you the 13 steps to wealth, and it shares stories of people who became millionaires. It also talks about how important it is to have a positive mindset and to believe in yourself. So if you're looking for some motivation, if you want to learn how to become more successful in your life, I recommend you read this book. Number 5 is Daring Greatly by Brené Brown. This book is about vulnerability, and it's about how embracing vulnerability can lead to greater success and happiness in life. So Brené Brown, she's a researcher and she's studied vulnerability for over a decade, and in this book she shares her findings. She talks about how vulnerable people are often more successful and happier than people who avoid vulnerability, and she gives you tips on how you can embrace vulnerability in your own life. So if you're struggling with something and you feel like you need to open up to someone but you're just too afraid, I recommend you read this book. At number 4 is Quiet by Susan Cain. This book is about introverts, and it's about how we often live in a world that's geared towards extroverts. So it's about time that we celebrate introverts and we appreciate their strengths. So this book teaches you the strengths of being an introvert, and it gives you tips on how you can succeed in an extroverted world. So if you're an introvert and you're struggling with something, if you feel like you're not being appreciated, I recommend you read this book. Next up at number 3 is The Happiness Trap by Russ Harris. This is based off of acceptance and commitment therapy, and it's basically about how we often get caught up in our thoughts and how we can learn to free ourselves from the prison of our own minds. So if you're someone who struggles with anxiety, if you're someone who struggles with stress, then this book is for you. Number 2 is Self-Compassion by Kristen Neff. So this book is basically about being kind to yourself, and it's about learning to accept yourself. We often beat ourselves up when we make mistakes, and we need to learn to forgive ourselves and to be kind to ourselves. So if you're someone who struggles with self-compassion, if you struggle with self-criticism, then this book is perfect for you. And finally, at number 1 is The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. This book is about being present, and it's about learning to let go of the past. So this book talks about how we often hold on to negative emotions and experiences from our past, and how we can learn to release them. It talks about how important it is to be present in the moment and to enjoy our lives. So if you're someone who struggles with letting go, if you struggle with being present, then this book is for you. And there you have it. These are the 10 books that changed my life forever. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider following for more content like this. And I'll see you in the next one.